Welcome back to Strawberry Ink, the podcast where we peel back the layers of America's most unsettling cases. Today we turn to the state of Connecticut and the disappearance of Jennifer Dulos, a wealthy mom of five who vanished in 2019, living behind a mystery drenched in suspicion, betrayal, and ultimately tragedy. Jennifer was officially declared dead in October 2023, though her body has never been found, meaning that she's not had a funeral. What followed her disappearance was a winding legal saga involving three defendants: her estranged husband, Fatis Doulos, his girlfriend, Michelle Troconis, and Fatis's former attorney, Kent Mawhinney. Let's begin with the timeline of arrests. On June 1st, 2019, law enforcement raided the Farmington home of Fatis Doulos and Michelle Troconis. Both were taken into custody during the raid, first detained at the Farmington police station and then transported to the Hartford Police Department holding facility. Their charge, evidence tampering. Michelle would be arrested again that September, just days after Labor Day. She turned herself into the Connecticut State Police Troops G building in Bridgeport. That same month, Fatis was arrested at a hotel in Avon, Connecticut, also being taken to the Troop G. The charges were expanded, now involving hindering and conspiracy. Then came 2020, a day after Epiphany. Fatis was arrested again, his third time, following another raid at his Farmington home. He was detained once more at the Troop G in Bridgeport. On that very same day, January 7th, Kent Mawhinney was also arrested at his home in New Britain, just as he was leaving for work early in the morning. He was taken to the Hartford police station and later booked into the Hartford Correctional Center. Both men were charged with conspiracy to commit murder. The first court appearances were swift. On June 3rd, 2019, both Michelle and Fotis stood before Judge Stephanie McLowan. Bond was set to $500,000 each. They were out within hours. Michelle returned to court in September 2019, again before Judge McLowan, this time as she was summoned for a hindering charge. Her bond was set to an extra $100,000, which she posted quickly inside that courtroom and walked out free. Fatis, who had been arrested days later, also faced Judge McLowan, charged with conspiracy. His extra bond, another $500,000, and he too was released quickly. Kent, however, was fortunate. At first, even though he stayed in jail as his bond was set to $2 million in January 2020, being unable to post it and remaining behind bars, he would soon see his temporary freedom. Fotis appeared before Judge McLowan one last time later that month, now facing capital murder charges. His bond soared to $6 million. He made it out once again. Michelle was represented by attorney John Schronhorn, Kent by Jeffrey Keston Band, and Fatis by the often controversial Norm Pattis. Yes, they got a private defense to represent them. The prosecution was initially led by Richard Colangelo Jr., who stepped down from the case on January 31st, 2020, to assume the position as chief state attorney. He handed the reins to Paul Ferenczak, and the case, to avoid bias, was transferred to another venue, the Stamford Superior Court. Kent appeared his bond amount, and Judge Kevin Randolph reduced it to $246,000. With that, Kent was released to await trial free. But Fatis's face took a different turn. On January 28, 2020, during a routine wellness check as part of his bond conditions, Farmington police found him unresponsive in his garage. He had attempted suicide. He was rushed to the University of Connecticut Health Center in Farmington, near his home. Then, as his condition was complicated, he was airlifted to the Jacobi Medical Center in the Bronx. He died 2 days later. His attorney and the prosecutor met with Judge Randolph shortly after to formally dismiss the charges due to his death. Fotis's funeral was held quietly at the Dimitri's Funeral Home in Athens, Greece. He was cremated. Michelle's legal journey was far from over. She went to trial on January 11th, 2024. The jury of 6 members and 6 alternates heard crucial evidence. After nearly 2 months of testimony, on March 1st that year, she was found guilty on all charges. Her bond was immediately revoked, and she was taken to the York Correctional Institution in Niantic to await sentencing. She hired attorney Daryl Crossland to represent her as she appeals her case. That matter is pending, and meanwhile, prosecutor Paul Ferenchek has been fighting this appellate process. In April, Judge Randolph announced she would receive consecutive punishments for each count: prison time and probation. On May 31st, 2024, Michelle was sentenced to 34 and a half years in prison, 14 and a half which were suspended, as well as an additional 5 years of probation. Her final prison term, 20 years to serve. She will start her probation after being released. But that's not all. In 2019, Jennifer Dulos' mother, Gloria Farver, filed a civil lawsuit against Fotis Dulos to recover significant funds. Michelle Troconis was deposed. During questioning, she invoked the Fifth Amendment repeatedly. That lawsuit is still ongoing. In 2025, Michelle was charged with contempt of court for allegedly displaying sealed psychological reports during her trial. She hired Crossland for this matter as well. That charge also remains unresolved. Kent Mawini, he's also embroiled in legal conflict. He is simultaneously the plaintiff in a lawsuit against a sex offender and the defendant in a separate domestic violence case. Both matters are pending. And through all of this, Jennifer's body has never been found. So here we are, a woman gone without a funeral, a family shattered, and a courtroom saga that continues to this day, with Kent pending. Thank you for listening to Strawberry Ink. I'm Santiago, your host, and we'll be back with more soon. Until next time, stay curious, stay critical, and stay safe. Have a good rest of your day, and may those affected rest in peace.